Jeez. Ooh, this is new. Where are we on the magical list of things? Yeah, I'll need to find a shelter soon. Corridors of leaves and gray rocks lead you to a gate large enough to let a wagon through, held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with claw marks left by various monsters, but they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man covered in shadows is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse and distrustful. You lost or aught? Listen, grab the wooden bar on the door. I'll grab the one on my side. Just give me a minute. Dismount and lift the log. The man lowers the rope and hangs from an iron hook. You hear him pressing his feet to the wall as he climbs down, getting on the ground swiftly. Step back! His voice is muffled. The man pushes both leaves of the gate and steps closer, looking around. He's holding a loaded crossbow but doesn't aim at you. He's both tall and wide. He's wearing a black gambitson so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. Tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repair. The hole in the man's hands reveal a scraped knee. You followed? Not really. Good, good. He steps away, letting you through. The stool and a bucket are filled with dirty water. Don't look like much of a resting spot. Ye safe now. The man closes the gate and observes you with keen eyes. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes, a short, unkempt beard, and a bandage horizontally covering his ears, and the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair, and mud on his clothes, and a brown neck. Despite all this, he's of a huge shell, his wide shoulders and thick legs. Now, how ye live? He still holds his weapon, but doesn't aim at you. I don't know, ye mug. Distant. I'm Galen, the new Roadwarden, and you're the gatekeeper, I assume? Well, yeah. He looks at his weapon. I'm just on duty. Got him. But I'm no enemy of yours. He straightened up. So, a ward. You new to the job? New here, but I know what I'm doing. No pass would prepare ye for this shit place. Nights are all piss and blood. Just before sunrise, a bird tried to pluck me eye. This gate here? He places his hand on the brick, as if to prove it exists. It's older than me. All there, he points behind him, wild and beast. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us. Not but the brave ones enter this wood. Not but the brave ones enter the woods, and not but the stupid ones do it alone. He scratches the bandage on his cheek. Name's Quintus, from old Pagos. Been there? Not yet. So, you don't know. It's west from here, behind the crossroads. But it's touched by sickness. We used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall. But some days ago, no one came for me. I spent a night here. Stinky the wolf shits almost got me. He crouches, draws a handful of water from the bucket, but after he smells it, he grunts and trades up. I went home by myself, only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since. And what do you know about the plague? Not much. It kills, that's all I know there is to know. My tribe's smart, lacking the gate. The right gives them strength. Shouldn't you look for a real shelter? He trembles, his eyes wide. Someone has to go and stay at the gate. The villages in the east don't know about the illness. They may try to crossing the woods. Hit the closed gate while fleeing some wolves and stuff. He rubs his dirty neck. And I also can't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way I die, this is it. With my duty fulfilled. You can at least spend the night time in one of the villages. He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jingle. I'm not a beggar, and the villages in the north won't help me for more than a day or two. I've got no dragon bones, just this little ibex. He pats his crossbow. Old Pagos is it by itself. We don't look for kind folks. He thinks for a moment. I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done, or before winter. He looked at you with a sick face. Yeah, he may be a bit proud, but he knows more than the locals than I do. Glances at Rico. Ye understand, I'm sure. Wardens are souls of duty. Anyways, I changed the topic. So, if we're to ask to keep this gate open for me, well, ye saw how it is. I could open it for ye. He touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need ye to give me aught first. What do you want? I'm hungry. Bring some rations, maybe. Dried meats, apples, nuts. Maybe. 6 meals, and then I'll help you with the gate. Don't you have time to hunt? Time. But I've got to stay near the gate. I can't keep people waiting while I track deer. He touches the man in the face. And if I die, there'll be no keeper with. You could forage. I eat berries and sorrel every day, but it isn't real food. And I've got to fight up all the snakes and badgers. Nuts are nowhere to be found. Too many squirrels, rats, and boars. I found some acorns, but I'd never roasted them before. They may make me sick. I'll go with you. But goblins and trolls can smell the burning fat. Roasting is the opposite of what I should do. Alright. I'll bring you some food then. Thanks. His smile may be disfigured by his wounds, but it is more as his voice. I'll take any help I can get. Alright. Have you heard of a man named Asturian? That's nice, but he hasn't been here in many days. You sure he's not dead? After you admit that he very much may be, he puts a hand on his waist. Well, better get ready to slit open every dragon belly in the wilds. Did he often travel through the woods? Sure, through it on a different mount. He had a saurian, 4 ibexes long, 2 ibexes tall. It moves on 4 legs and jumps high and far. It's dark green and like rotten leaves. At one time I was taking a piss in the shrubs and Astarian made the beast run up the rock face. And it jumped on that. He points on the hill. And like, they ran above the wall and landed on the other side. And just like that. He snaps his finger, his voice and eyes getting bigger. You say the saurian was large and green. I mean, not everywhere. He points at his eyebrows. He has red scales here and on the tail. And shoulders, I think. I don't know what to call it. You ask him for a bit about Astarian, but he has little to add. There used to be 6 of us capers. I saw him every now and then, but not that often. And what about the road behind the gate? Oh, not much. He chuckles. His chuckles turns into a cough. It leads through lowlands, mostly woods and some ponds. It's dark and lethal. Whenever he mentions the tales of ghosts, he mentions tales of ghosts, dragons, fogs, and blood mages, but whenever you ask about any creature in particular, his response is vague and brief. The tribes abandoned this path. Ever since the war, the trade has been slow. People refuse to patrol it. The plants are getting taller, and for at least a few more seasons, it's still a shortcut. It's good ye have that mount. If aught chases ye, it's always good to stay close to the path and ride as fast as you can. If no one uses this road, why are you here? He scowls at you. Not the old one. It's where people hunt for monsters, and every few days, I have to open it for reasons. And those old pagos, what's that like? He opens his mouth, giving you a puzzled look, and then lets out a weak chuckle. What am I to say? We've got rocks, he taps the wall, and make houses, bowls, tools. We sell them too. We grow oats and broad beans. Ibexes give us wool, and skins for monks. What do ye call it? The one ye write on. He moves on when you mention parchment. Yeah. It's a good place. Beautiful, old. Hill, that's what Pagos means. Old hill. When you bring up the monastery, his eye gets brighter. Good people. When they came here on a mission, teaching us the old rites book. Parents were pagans, ye know. But now we follow the river of truth. We keep to ourselves, but help others when they need us. Well, we have a little time. We only have one place to go. It's quick save. And go on. You pass blueprints, cart tracks, pieces of rubbish, and the old signs of maintenance, from cut shrubs to stones pushed to the side. The monkeys and birds are small, and the hills turn greener the farther west you get. The sound of a creek is relaxing and monotonous. Looks like I can ride peace for now. Oh, crossroads. let's see. I've got north, west, and south. Probably want to head south, to be honest. Just to head that direction. The hooves thump loudly on the beaten track. Green brushes, shrubs, and trees prove that soil here is fertile, yet the plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be busy at times, maybe even patrolled. In the distant west, you can see the mountain peaks dividing the lowlands from the mountains. There's dense forest in the north from which you can hear the croaking of toads. The trail south is curvy, surrounded by hills. You don't see many plants on the horizon. The last path is already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi. Yet, pictures and letters that cover our nail boards are nothing alike. Alright, the southern one. It's covered with green, blue, and white paint that portray similar squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. Each square has a large letter inside, though you don't recognize them. Nevertheless, the picture's too old. And the northern. Okay. There's also a simple horizontal of a fish and a short word beneath which you don't recognize. Deer in a standing barrel. And the western outpost. Signpost. I'm proud. What about the area? Thicket doesn't help, but you notice the remains of berries and pears, but most of them are already rotting, spread close to the wooden stools on the side of the road. Nearby creek is not impressively deep, but the beaver dam got 5 hours. For some reason, taller than you are. Makes it wide, the water surrounding oil. A few steps from the southern outpost, you find something sticking out of a shrub. It's a moist plant covered in fungi. You try to move it with a stick and glove hand. After a minute, you confirm it's abandoned side, covered with green letters. Okay. Alright. Well. Let's travel south. Hey! There's something there. The road is beaten and free of litter. It serves your palfrey well. You notice them pass between fruit-bearing trees on your right, and soon after, you ride alongside vast fields of green hemp plants, taller than you are, waiting for a scythe or a sickle. Then there are broad beans, much shorter but healthy, almost ready for the second harvest of the summer. The path ends with a massive wooden gate, the stone wall separating you from the glow of the lights behind it. It isn't as tall as the roofs, but you can't imagine climbing to its top. There are pretty much no cracks, no missing bricks, a sign of many hours of labor, especially considering how massive the settlement is, and as wide as a city district. The birds and monkeys are now just distant echoes. Sounds of carts, running hammers, saws, laughter, and shouts. Oh, thank God! A young man is sitting in the shadow by the open gate. He's young, tanned, and has a short, elegantly trimmed red beard. I managed to get to the heart of the woods, thank Christ. From his arm hangs a steel helmet, though the metal is so thin that it's mostly made of wool and leather. He gets up and takes the posture of a disciplined soldier, not a mercenary. He's standing upright with his chin up. There are 2 weapons on the ground, leaning on the wooden beams of the gate. An axe made of steel and a wooden club. He doesn't reach for either. You dismount smoothly, you still have some vigor left. Rico holds his tail high. A narrow path leads south, towards 2 field workers with 1 hoe, and 1 with a pitchfork. They wave it to you, but you can't see their faces, but their clothes are simple, gray pants and sweat. Yeah. Wave back. They talk for a bit, looking toward you, pointing at your mount, then walk away, disappearing behind the wall's corner. The guard smiles, yet avoids your eyes. He has to clear his throat before he speaks. Welcome, traveler. If you're not here to make trouble, Howler's Dell's welcomes you. We have the whitest flower there is. When he bows, you realize it's a well-practiced performance. If it's new garments you're looking for, you can order everything you need here, in all colors, shapes, and sizes. Capes, boots, vests, and robes. Or if you're a master of the needle, I'm sure you can find that we have the fabric you're looking for. His act is over. He glances at your mount in a moment of silence, his eyes wide. This is Rico. It helps him patrol the woods. You can pet its side if you want, but no sudden movements. He follows your instructions. Even though your palfrey pays no attention to the man's careful touch, the guard grins widely. And I'm Galen, your new Roadwarden. I want to see the mayor. City folk, aye. The mayor is busy, but I'll ask her. For now, come and please take a look at our square. It's not too crowded, with only a few buildings on the edge and a humming creek near the west of here. There's the center of the village. A large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water, held together by a thin wall, perfect for sitting. But the smell coming from the liquid makes you think of rotten eggs. The plant carries no leaves, but you can tell it's been truly withered. In the north, you can see the tallest building in the settlement, nicely whitewashed and very city-like. Judging by the tables, stools, and benches outside of it, it's an inn, and it's open for guests. Oh, thank Christ. The villagers, all of them tall, are chatting and dining loudly, and you catch their curious glances. On the side of this dining area, there is a merchant stall. He's currently arguing with a tall, broad-shouldered elder. The guard closes the gate and blocks it with a wooden beam and then asks you to wait for a bit. Alright, let's tether Rico up. There's a wide wooden roof right next to the gate that shelters carts, crates, and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey to a beam placed here just for this purpose. Without a moment of hesitation, Rico starts to chew on the nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bundles. When the guard returns, he's still alone. Jake can come now. A friend of mine is in labor, eh? The mayor wants to be there when the child arrives, but I was asked to show you this village. Fine. Okay. Takes you north, past the inn. This is the inn right here. Past the inn, through a narrow valley, you pass a tiny herbal garden and a pasturage surrounded by a wooden fence. But the only animals you can see are a loose chicken and a boar tied in a building, even though you can hear the molten flock in the distance. Without haste, the guard tells you about Howler's Creek. It's wide, yet shallow, gentle, and hasn't overflowed the banks in years. Going to its source, you find no other in the settlement, so it stays clean and fresh. But there are hardly any fish in it, so only a select few are allowed to hunt for them. We're the cleanest village in the north, he chuckles brightly. He walks to the ladder made of ropes and sticks, which lead to the top of the watchtower. Come with me, traveler. The view up top there is gorgeous. It could be a trap. Even though the ladder swings in all directions, the guard gets to the top quickly, like a monkey climbing up the creepers. You, on the other hand, need to make stops and wait for the ladder to calm down itself. When you join the man, look on the platform, you're a bit dizzy. He's leaning on the wooden parapet, observing the area with a smile, with no weapon in sight. Oh, wow, this is a fucking massive settlement. See? There's no place like Howler's Deal. The guard starts to point in all sorts of directions, giving you time to contemplate. For the next few minutes, he describes the fields and their crops, the flocks and their pastures, and the shepherds inspecting the fences, the ancient gardens of the trees and bushes, larger than the village itself, the sunlight dancing on the stream to its own tune. If you're to believe everything he describes, this place has access to everything in abundance. The sweetest honey, the most fragrant bread, the softest wool, and the bear, just excellent. He sounds like a city merchant who's trying to sell you an old house. I mean, yeah, it's halfway decent. That islet in the middle connects both parts of the village. There are 3 gates. According to him, the northern one is hardly ever opened. So that's the northern one. There's one right here, and then that's the one I just came in. And leads pretty much nowhere. You've already seen Ape Ale Inn, where you can find a bed in victuals. Inn's the stall where the Akios reward our work, at least as long as we don't annoy him with pointless talk. He laughs briefly. On the opposite side of the creek, there's another white house. It belongs to Bjorn, the best clothier in the north. The priests live in the southeast, near the wall, but they do not talk to strangers. You also hear about the hunter, the cooper, the fisher, the miller. The pie maker lives with his sister, the baker. The smith and her husband. The carpenter lives with their kids. Some of the larger buildings could accommodate 2, maybe even 3 generations at once. There could be more than 100 dwellers here. You consider stopping his speech, but he suddenly points at the islet again. There. See? The mayor's coming. The one wearing purple. You're free to join her, traveler. Whew! Alright. Trying to get down quickly, but the steps are enough to make it clear that it's a bad idea. You wait for the ladder to find its balance. You're relieved when you touch the ground again. Tables in front of the inn are now crowded. The people on the stools talk to each other loud enough to help the lone traveler hear them. An old man is sitting by himself eating a pie with a walking stick leaning against the table. One young woman is cleaning mugs in the creek, speaking with a man at least twice her age, maybe your father. I look for the mayor. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy on her knees. She's holding his hand gently, showing him how to eat gruel from the bowl. It's not a cheap meal, though you spot nuts, berries, and milk. Added honey makes it yellowish. The kid is clean and quiet, though once he notices your arrival, he crams his mouth with a spoonful of oats. Now, love. The mayor titters. Do not get distracted. She rubs the meal off his face. A few more spoons and you'll go and help Papa in the kitchen, eh? She gives you a radiant, though apologetic smile, and then turns her attention back to her companion. Her long, bold-sleeved linen dress must be dyed once in blue and then once in red to achieve its dark, fancy purple, which would draw looks even in Howler. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape as thin as a shawl. The round belt on her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale, with powdered and rough and rouged cheeks, and her lips match her outfit, though they're a bit closer to wine red. The gray, thick strands on her long blonde hair look more like a fashion choice than a result of aging. Her eyes are a color of her cape, and keen and vigorous. She's shorter than most people around, though she would still be the tallest woman in the most northern of settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands add fragility to her appearance. Even though her posture is upright, her legs confidently crossed, her delicate voice assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. After a few moments, After a few more minutes, the boy lets out a gentle cough. After a pat on the back, Mayor puts him on the ground. You did a great job, love, but now I need to speak with our guest, darling. She addresses one of the inn workers, a girl close to him. Take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of question or suggestion. Yes, ma, she responds. Both of her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother. Neither of the kids resemble their mother. So, we have a Roadwarden again. Please, sit down. She shows you vaguely the palm of her open hand, letting you pick any place. Oh, yeah, sure. The flowing water hits silently the rocks and wooden stakes surrounding the aisles, then splits into 2 stream beds. In Howler, the river is surrounded by tall walls, protecting the banks from deterioration, and the water is seldom free of dirt. Here, the smell is as fresh as it would be in the woods. The mayor observes your outfit carefully, at first looking as if she just ate an onion, but then puts on a polite smile. Once your eyes meet, she hardly ever looks away. I'm sure you're hungry, Ma. My husband would bring us something soon. Yes, please. God knows I need it. Do not mention it. Hunger makes me peevish, and the day is too nice for that. She taps her chest and looks at the flock of birds that fly above you loudly, heading south. As we're waiting, be so good as to help me understand something. Even if you are but a mercenary, I cannot imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening. Ni so long after Asterian's disappearance, this nasal glory of treasures to find here. Her pale fingers form a tent on her stomach, then clasp, leaving the 4 fingers pointing to you. You were sent here by merchants. They want to... Well, she's been nice enough to offer me food. I figured it's only nice to offer it back. I prevent Hollivan's interest as an opportunity. You introduce yourself, and a touch more on the obvious side of the potential deal with the guild and the city chief. The troops, their pay, and the patrols they would establish. The overview of taxes. Trade routes would bring new life to this place. You try to sound warm. It's a win-win. Throughout your speech, the mayor observes you patiently, without interruptions. I see, she finally responds. As she observes your palfrey, she twists her deer buckle left and right, left and right. If it was that simple, I'd be eager to applaud, but it's never that simple, is it? Her eyes fill up with melancholy. Despite her smile, I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot, not a stick. But when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch. Her accent is almost identical to the one used on the city. I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. Even if I were eager to put trust in the words of a stranger, your honesty has nothing to do with the truth, necessarily. It doesn't put me in an easy position, as you can imagine. Here, listen to this trick I learned about during my studies. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another, then leans forward and rests on her elbows, allowing her hands to make freely gestures. You make a deal with the settlement, flour and wool in exchange for coin and tools. You send the first traders and they apply you're ready to pay more for, let's say, parchment. Months later, we want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. We can We cannot butcher any more moflins, the locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We'll send you a small flock. Just turn your field to your pasture. As she pretends to speak in different characters, her voice comically shifts. She has no issue switching between accents. She swings her hand above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks of crops. The tribe needs not just tools and coins, a lot of coins, but also seeds. And the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons costs a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more muffins, and to sell us their cheese. And guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms. Like someone at her age, turns out the village can't say no anymore. They lack supplies, seeds, and land. She's right. She really is. The pause doesn't linger for long. I see we understand each other. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Thias, one of the keepers of the Ale Inn, and the mayor of Howler's Dell. I would assume it would be convenient for you to take my answer back to Hulliman. She wonders for a moment. Say when we could expect the first caravan after winter. It depends on what you can sell and what you want in return. While the conversation goes on, oh yes! The food gets served. The thick, refreshing aroma of roasted mutton and covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey tempts you to bite in right away. The juices are sinking into the round trencher. Oh, God, yes, it sounds so good. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped red radishes and a sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. It's all brought up by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother, and in the end, the innkeeper himself showing up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and not so clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduces himself as Eric's, and after confirming you won't get sick from what he prepared, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. Thias tears the meat into smaller pieces and eats slowly, after expressing her enjoyment with a hum. Alright. Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grains and vegetables, with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls, but a lone Roadwarden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the paths, and maybe even a heart of the woods. That's what we expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what their village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. You recognize vaguely the name of its tailor, shoemaker, but you've never earned enough to pay him as much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel or bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. Then she repeats her question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but it won't find much in the other tribes. They barely have enough to survive, and even after they trade for our crops, for what we have is the only decent soil in the realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while creeks sell meats and wood. Actually, if you haven't been in Creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping the old roads safe, while White Marshes, on the other hand, as well as Old Pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up and walks to another table and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her and starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand with a clean cloth, and adjusts the folds of her cape. Once again, crosses her legs. So tell me, Galen, how's Halaman? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Yeah, it's kind of shitty right now. Okay. It couldn't be easy, not after all the blows that landed on the place. That's a thing works with works of humans, isn't it? A house you build for half a year turns to dust with a single storm. A proud city falls, the emperor's mask shatters. The children from this village, she glances at a young girl cleaning the table, are just as fragile. They have food, clothes, and walls, but there will be a time of disaster. Once it strikes, only then they'll take to heart the same lesson that the cities had yet to learn. And it will be forgotten again after the next sunny spring. She pauses and looks at you with a sad smile. But don't let me babble any longer. What can I do for you, Galen? Well, I can tell you this. I'm going to save. Yes, overwrite my save. I've made it pretty far. As for right now, I think we're going to leave it here. Thank you so very much for watching. And I hope that you've enjoyed this as much as I have so far. I am going to complete this game, so whether I win or lose, I will put the playthrough up. But thank you so very much for watching. I will see you again next time, lads. Have a good one.